Hi and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Dr. Aida and our fellow classmates. Today we are going to present on the story of success and failure of internal audit. So before we begin our presentation, let me introduce the presenters for today. My name is Nurhanisa and my fellow group members are Darisha, Nadira and Najwa. Before we go further into our topic for today, allow me to give a brief introduction on our topic. So as we all know, around the world, every year, billions of dollars are lost to fraud and corruptions, resulting in inefficiencies, aborted projects, financial challenges, organizational failure, and in extreme cases, humanitarian disaster. Organizations should have a robust internal control procedures to limit the risk of fraud, and internal audit rules is to assess these rules. The plan should make clear the role of internal audit when there is suspected fraud and associated control failure. Where fraud has occurred, internal audit should understand how the controls failed and identify opportunities for improvement. So next, let's look at the case related to issues in internal audit. The first case we are able to retrieve from a few articles is the case of JP Morgan Chase Bank. JP Morgan Chase Bank, one of the world's largest banks, is now in trouble. There has been a lot happening in JP Morgan, but there are only a few issues I would like to highlight regarding the internal audit failure in JP Morgan. Its share price has halved since 2017 and is now worth less than half of its book value. So how does one of the world's largest banks result in this kind of situations? This is because for several years, the bank continued to manage its fiduciary activities through a weak management with an insufficient audit program and internal controls. Afterward, a major banking regulator punished JP Morgan Chase for having lax internal audit procedures and controls. JP Morgan Bank has agreed to pay $250 million for risk management and other control failings in its asset and wealth management business. Okay, so next, let's move on to the next case with internal audit issues. Toshiba Corporation. Toshiba Corporation had overstated earnings by at least $1.2 billion from 2009 to 2014. The committee found that Toshiba's internal audit was unsuccessful because it placed more emphasis on consultation services rather than assurance services. It was at fault for not paying attention to the accounting audit. Plus, the audit committee at Toshiba lacked both competence and independence. In Toshiba, the three external members of the audit committee had no background in accounting and finance. Consequently, management was not independent of the internal audit. The internal audit served as the audit committee's attentive person, so failure in internal audit therefore result in poor corporate governance. So next I'll pass to Najwa for the impacts of these issues.
Okay, now I will explain the impact of issues to the internal audit professions. In the case of JP Morgan Chase, the lack of the proper audit program result in the civil money penalty of 250 million. The OCC noted the bank maintained a weak management and control framework for its fiduciary activities, failed to adequately manage risk, and failed to have an independent audit program to detect potential fraud and financial irregularities. If there is a lack of a proper audit program, it can lead to potential risks such as inaccurate financial reportings, non-compliance with law and regulations, and inadequately internal controls. Also, the financial institution may not have the necessary oversight to detect the potential fraud and other financial irregularities. This could lead to the significant financial losses and potential regulatory penalties. Additionally, it can also lead to a loss of a public trust in the financial institutions. Now, from Toshiba case, the three external members of the audit committee had no knowledge of finance and accounting. An ex-chief financial officer (CFO), when accounting irregularities occurred, was the only whole-time member of the audit committee. Therefore, the internal audit was not independent of the management. Early management had to the tacit approval of the top management. If the internal audit is not independent of the management, it can lead to a lack of oversight and accountability in a financial institutions. This can create an environment where accounting irregularities can go undetected and can lead to the significant financial losses. Additionally, it can also lead to a lack of a public trust in the financial institution as well as potential regulatory fines and penalties. So, in conclusions, both JP Morgan Chase Bank and Toshiba, it is essential for a financial institution to maintain adequate internal controls and internal audit in order to protect itself from potential risks such as inaccurate financial reporting, non-compliance with law and regulations, and inadequate internal controls. Without a proper audit program, these risks can go undetected, leading to the significant financial losses and potential regulatory penalties. Additionally, the failure of the internal audit can lead to a loss of public trust in the financial institutions. Therefore, it is vital for financial institutions to ensure that their internal audit programs are effective and independent.
Next, I will explain the factors of success in internal audit. Internal auditing is the backbone of internal control in an organization. Even though challenges exist on internal audit function in the public sector, there are success factors for effective internal auditing. First thing first is planning. The internal auditors should ensure they are well prepared and well planned before performing their jobs. Successful internal audits depend primarily on careful planning to guarantee that all necessary areas of the organization are examined and that the audit is carried out efficiently. For example, company EA Techniques and Berhad, which is a marine service company, their internal auditor reviewed and approved the annual internal audit plan for 2020 to ensure the adequacy of scope, functions, competency and resources, and that it has the necessary authority to carry out its work. Thus, with appropriate preparation, not only will all the activities proceed easily, but auditors will also be able to obtain sufficient information for them to provide reasonable opinions. After that, the factor of success of internal audit function is by conducting performance reviews of internal auditor periodically. Adequately trained and competent internal audit staff is essential to the success of an internal auditing program. However, organizations should ensure that their internal audit teams are properly reviewed, trained, and have access to the right resources to enable them to carry out their work to the highest standards. For example, KPMG methodology, which is KSP RINS, stand for KPMG Internal Audit Strategic Performance Review, provides a framework for internal auditing quality assessment. It is based on the IIA standards and extensive practical experience gained while working for national and international companies. By considering performance reviews, internal audit teams can better understand the strengths and the weaknesses of their team members and can then use this information to adjust their audit plans and strategies to ensure the most effective and efficient results. Last but not least is Functional Board of Directors. Functional Board of Directors contributes to the success of internal auditing by providing oversight and direction to the internal audit department. According to Maybank Annual Report 2021, the Audit Committee Board has been established by the board to assist in the execution of its governance and oversight responsibility, as well as to ensure that there is a reliable and transparent financial reporting process within the group. Therefore, the involvement and proactive action taken by the board in the internal audit function ensure that the department has the resources and expertise necessary to conduct effective audits and provide assurance to the organization that its processes and controls are operating effectively.
There are several reasons that have been identified from both cases which choose that cause the failure in internal auditing. The first reason that we can obviously see from the cases is lack of prioritization of internal audits from the top management. Top management plays important role to set their tone in order to ensure that the audit committees can assist and be aware of what they are doing for the purpose of risk assessment. Top management attitudes or culture set priorities for organization as a whole, which can affect how resources are allocated and the engagement of its employees. By referring to the case of Toshiba, their top management set the targets which are too high and unachievable, together with a huge amount of pressure imposed in meeting those targets and goals. As a result, internal audit committee failed to identify sufficient evidence in order to give qualitative insight and foresight into the important risks for current and in the near future. Next, the reason for internal audit failure is because of incompetent internal auditors. As we can see in the case of Toshiba, audit committee was incapable not independent. Plus, 3 external members of the audit committee also had zero knowledge of finance and accounting, in which ex-CFO, who was the CFO during the time of irregularities occurred, was the only member of the audit committee. As a result, the internal audit was not independent of the management and only focused on providing consultation service. In reality, the internal audit supposedly acts as an assurance and consultant service due to lack of incompetent internal auditors who have enough knowledge in providing consultant and assurance service. The internal audit has failed in carrying out its function. Moreover, the internal audit also can fail due to insufficient internal audit program. This can be seen in the case of JP Morgan, where a company has insufficient audit program that has caused them to fail to maintain adequate internal control and internal audit over its fiduciary business, which cost them $250 million. Moreover, the bank is said to have maintained a weak management and control as well as insufficient audit program and internal controls over those activities for several years. This includes insufficient risk management practice and lack of framework to cater conflict of interest. The audit program is crucial in helping the business to maintain an effective system of internal controls, identify risks of fraud, and ensure compliance with all relevant laws and regulations. So now, how can we overcome the failure of internal audit? First and foremost, every company needs to develop policies and procedures. Based on the case of JP Morgan, there are insufficient audit program as well as framework for avoiding conflicts of interest. This happens due to lack of written policies and procedures. The policies and procedures should be documented and communicated to all stakeholders within the organization. This is important as it can give employees written notice of company's policies, also can help internal auditors in assessing risk and performing any type of compliance work. In addition, it also can help internal audit function in monitoring and assuring that business process have reflected the documented policies. Next, enhance the knowledge and capabilities of internal auditors. Commonly, failure of internal audit is because of skill deficiency or shortage of internal auditors' knowledge. This can be proven based on the case of Toshiba, in which audit committee was neither capable nor independent. As a result, internal audit was not independent of management, plus there is no accounting audit included in the job of internal audit. Therefore, internal auditor skills and knowledge must evolve following the evolving of organization needs in order to remain relevant. This can be carried out by providing them with seminar and training continuously. Lastly, get the prioritization from top management in order to set culture of putting internal audit as a norm. This culture is crucial to support execution of company strategy. As what happened in two cases above, we can conclude that both companies do not really put internal audit as priority, in which there is insufficient audit program carried out, especially in the case of JP Morgan. The tone from top management is important as it can ensure that company's culture, environment, and corporate values, which may affect the overall efforts or commitments of employees.
In conclusion, internal audit function is a significant element of internal control of any organization. Therefore, its effectiveness renders the internal control of organization effective. Contributing factors to the effective internal auditing include having a clear planning, conducting performance review of internal audit, and a board of directors actively involved in the execution of its governance and oversight responsibility to ensure the internal audit function works effectively.